I said it, man. I said it. How many times do I have to say it about coming out here to Houston looking for a relationship, man? Guy posted something on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. He moved here about 3.5 years ago, man, because he wanted to come to Houston to connect with a female that he met through Instagram. She looked good, standing behind a car, nice fitted outfit on, body was banging. Got here and found out that it wasn't what he thought it was. His story is that when he first met her through Instagram, that she claimed to be a nurse and going to school to on her own dentistry office or whatever. Get out here. A week after he moved out here, she claimed, I'm sorry, a week before she moved out here, she claimed that she lost her job, her car was getting repoed or had got repoed, and that's just not the crazy story. After they started dating for a while, he noticed that she started disappearing from home a lot, and then when she would come home, she would have all of her friends over, and he didn't have a job, so he didn't have medical insurance or anything like that. He started messing with her and everything was good. About 3 weeks into the relationship of him moving out here to Houston, he ended up contracting something that caused him to burn when he was urinating. We know what that is. That's that big G. You guys don't know what the big G is? That stands for gonorrhea. So he's online crying about that she burned him. He caught gonorrhea. He swore he never cheated on her. He didn't know anybody out here. Now that's 3 weeks after he moved out here. Now, come to find out, he's online saying that he has HIV symptoms, guys. It's a sad story to see this man on here crying like this, but it's real. And this is why I say, coming out here to Houston, man, trying to date, man, you're going to end up catching something that not even a doctor can get rid of. Now, in the video, he did say that he's healthy, he's taking medication, that's kind of keeping it under control a little bit, but he's heartbroken because he said that she knew that she had HIV and she should have told him. I think that that is a crime. That should be attempted, you know what, because when you willingly know that you got a virus like that, you're supposed to tell partners, people that you're about to engage with, especially if it's going to be something in the bedroom. So now he has to live with this for the rest of his life. He also went on in the video to say because he contracted what he contracted, there was no need for him to leave her because nobody else would want him anyway. Because he would have to expose the fact that whoever he talks to, that he is infected. So he is still with the lady, but this is the perfect example of what I was saying, guys. You cannot be coming out here to date if you're looking for a date. Come out here just to party. Now, I tell you this story not to talk about women. That was just the story that I was giving you guys an example of. The men out here are just as worse as the women, man. Houston, if you look it up, the statistics is through the roof, man. The HIV rate just out here in Texas alone, mainly the Houston area, because the Houston area is where everybody migrates to because they feel like this is where all the men at who got money, the women who got the nice bodies and stuff like that. But it's not what you think, man. It's nasty out here. It's very nasty, guys. It is nasty. So I'm gonna say this. If you come out here and you plan on moving out here, bring your woman with you or meet you someone back home that you know of, because Houston is not the place to come and look for a date at, man. Like I said before, you're gonna either go broke out here, you're gonna be stressed out, and you're gonna get cheated on, I promise you. But it's a sad situation that this guy got HIV because he decided to come out here in Houston to date, man. Let me know in the comments what you think this guy should do. Should he stay with the woman? Should he left the woman? I mean, in my opinion, just in my opinion, I don't think it really matters whether he stayed with the woman or not. Nobody else is going to want him unless he gets with somebody who contracted the same thing he contracted. Thank you guys for watching.
If you flew to a city because of an Instagram DM and came home with a souvenir you didn't buy, that's not romance, that's paperwork. Let's talk about moving for love and moving into a clinic. Yo, real talk. I get why people chase a dream. New city, new energy, maybe someone who looks like a cover photo. But here's the messy chapter nobody reads. People aren't their filters. You can't swipe into someone's immune system. Imagine telling your mom, I moved to Houston for love. She asks, for how long? You say, Apparently permanent? Cue the paperwork and the late night calls to the clinic. This isn't shame. It's sorrow. It's empathy for someone who packed their hope into a suitcase and ended up with lifelong medical news. That's heavy. And whatever you think about choices, the one thing we can insist on is honesty. If someone knows they're carrying something that can hurt another person, that's not a relationship issue. That's a responsibility issue.
I'm about to have a real conversation with you all. Now, I know lately in the news, they expressed that Houston has a very, very high STD rate. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. People do not care about catching anything. People do not fear HIV. People do not fear syphilis, gonorrhea. People don't fear none of those things. People live life on the edge and they are pleasure chasing, meaning they don't care about the consequences. Long as they can feel good in the moment, that's it. That's all people chase. And I'm telling people the reality of it is people really, when it comes to sex, people don't care about protecting themselves. And ladies, listen to this. I'm a man. I hang around a lot of men. Had plenty of conversations with men. And men, we love to talk about women and stuff with each other, right? And over the years, I can tell you now, the things that I've seen men do and heard men do is crazy. I'm talking about people married, long relationships, and out here having unprotected sex with different people and coming back home like nothing happened. On top of that, not using protection. You got men who will fly out the country, have sex with foreign women unprotected, come back to their wife and girlfriend, sleep with them unprotected like nothing happened. Don't even go get tested. And let's talk about, there's a window in time when you need to get tested. If you have unprotected sex, don't go run to the doctor 2 weeks after that thinking that your results are going to be authentic. They're not. They're not going to be good results because you have to wait until whatever virus it is detectable. And some of y'all play games. Y'all know that stuff will not be detectable within a week or 2 weeks after unprotected sex, but you'll run and go get tested real quick. And be like, oh, I'm clean, bro. You ain't even give enough time to settle in your system. See, people do that too. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm telling you, these men nowadays, all you have to do is have a pretty face, nice body. Matter of fact, you don't even have to have a pretty face. Just a nice body, and the dude will hit you raw consistently and not even ask you about your status.
Imagine you find love in the workplace. You fall in love with a coworker, y'all dating, going on concerts, going on different dates, seeing each other all the time. I mean, everything is amazing. And you decide now y'all want to be a little bit more intimate. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had did something before, but you were like, you know what? Let's do this the right way. Let's get tested. Let's make sure we're both good. You get your results back and it's negative. You ask him what was his results. He tell you it's negative. Everything is going amazing until you started getting sick. Oh, you got stays in the hospital. You're losing weight. You lost almost 65 pounds. You go to the dentist and he tell you there's thrash all in your mouth. And that's not normal to have thrash in your mouth without there being an underlying condition. This last stay at the hospital, the doctor comes in there and he tells you, hey, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you have AIDS. You've been infected. You're like, what? Because you're knowing that you and your partner has been tested. Ain't nowhere in hell you could have anything. But only to find out that this man here, Kareem, your co-worker, infected you. Not only did he infect you, he infected his wife that he had, that you knew nothing about. Now this man finds out that you have it, and you're pursuing a case against him because you come to find out his wife is infected and she's been infected since 2009. And here it is, 2013, and you have it. So he knew he was infected, and he intentionally infected you, but you also find out he intentionally infected his wife as well. This man is from the Houston area. You need to share and repost this, because the women in that area need to know if they've ever came in contact with him, it's a possibility you might be infected as well. He's currently took a plea deal for 30 years for intentionally infecting women. Once again, I want to say he's in the Houston area. Share and repost so that the women in that area can know.
Now, I don't live in Houston or nothing, but I've been seeing this topic about HIV going crazy out there. Like, it's so bad that somebody that work at a hospital got on TikTok crying about the people that she done told that they got HIV. Y'all need to be careful out here, for real. Like, yes, in Texas, but I just think about all the people that live in my city that didn't went to Houston for a trip. Everybody laying down with everybody and doing what they doing unprotected, not knowing nothing. I don't know. Y'all just need to be careful out here, because it's wicked. What's y'all thoughts on it, though?
I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fever. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking way too much, definitely more than I should have. Things spiraled so quickly that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we got into an argument and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other people and eventually met this girl. She seemed fun, and the last thing I remember was dancing and having a good time. The next morning, I woke up in her bed confused, hungover, and with no clear memory of what had happened. I left quietly before she woke up, telling myself it was nothing serious. I thought that night wouldn't come back to haunt me, but about a month later, I started dropping weight fast. I was constantly running a fever, had pounding headaches, and weird spots started showing up on my skin. That's when I started to panic. Deep down, I had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. So I finally went to the hospital, and that's when, comment if you want to hear part 2. I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fevers. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking a lot way more than I should have. Things got so out of hand that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we ended up arguing and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other friends and eventually met this guy. He seemed fun, and the last thing one remember was dancing and having a great time. The next morning, I woke up in his bed, confused and unable to recall most of the night. I left before he woke up, brushing it off like it was no big deal. I thought that night wouldn't have any consequences, but a month later, I started losing a lot of weight. I was constantly running a fever, had terrible headaches, and noticed strange spots appearing on my skin. That's when panic set in. Deep down, had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. I decided to go to the hospital, and that's when, comment if you want to hear part 2. I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fevers. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking way too much, definitely more than I should have. Things spiraled so quickly that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we got into an argument and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other people and eventually met this girl. She seemed fun, and the last thing I remember was dancing and having a good time. The next morning, I woke up in her bed confused, hungover, and with no clear memory of what had happened. I left quietly before she woke up, telling myself it was nothing serious. I thought that night wouldn't come back to haunt me, but about a month later, I started dropping weight fast. I was constantly running a fever, had pounding headaches, and weird spots started showing up on my skin. That's when I started to panic. Deep down, I had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. So I finally went to the hospital. And that's when, comment if you want to, hear part 2.
Guys, I don't know about you, but it seems like just about everybody that I know is sick right now. I had about 4 or 5 coworkers already this week call out because they were sick. My mom was sick a couple of weeks ago. She had influenza A. My wife was sick in the house. She was dealing with some aches and pains, headaches, body aches, and all the other sort. Everybody, please just take care of yourselves. Hopefully, this all subsides soon. But there is something very troubling going on because it just seems like everybody is catching some illness.
On July 25th of 2025, reports have confirmed that Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to remove every member of the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, a move that would have devastating consequences for evidence-based medicine and the future of preventative care in this country. So as a clinician, I can tell you this is not just a bureaucratic shuffle. The USPSTF is the reason insurance companies are required to cover life-saving cancer screenings, depression screenings, HIV prevention medications like PrEP, and other essential services at no cost to patients. Their recommendations are based on decades of peer-reviewed research, not politics. Removing the entire panel isn't about reform. It's about silencing science. If you gut this task force, you're gutting the mechanism that ensures patients, especially those in underserved communities, have access to early detection and intervention. You are opening the door for insurance companies to deny coverage for basic screenings, which means more missed cancers, more preventative strokes, more late-stage diagnoses, and more people dying simply because they couldn't afford to catch it early. RFK Jr. has criticized the task force for being too woke because they use inclusive language like pregnant persons and acknowledge structural racism and health outcomes. That's not wokeness. That's reality. And pretending otherwise doesn't change the data. It just puts more people at risk. This isn't about left or right. It's about whether we are going to protect evidence-based guidelines that save lives or replace them with political theater that leaves clinicians powerless and patients abandoned. This will absolutely make my job and other health professionals' jobs much harder. It will make your care worse, and it is a direct threat to public health.
Look, rates for HIV and other STIs are climbing in many southern cities. That means the odds you're playing with aren't imaginary. Testing windows and false negatives are real. So a negative test 2 days after a hookup isn't the same as being in the clear. Here's how not to become a cautionary tale. Get tested regularly, every 3 to 6 months if you're active with multiple partners. Use condoms. Always have them. Treat them like deodorant. If you left home without it, you made a mistake. Consider PrEP if you're at ongoing risk because it actually works. Don't accept screenshots as proof. Ask to see a legitimate test and do your own test together. If someone refuses to talk about status, walk. No negotiation. Sexual discipline isn't romantic sounding.
We are in an HIV outbreak in Minnesota and nobody seems to care. You heard that right. We are having an HIV crisis in the Twin Cities since 2020 and in Duluth since 2021. There's an outbreak going on and nobody seems to be talking about this. You may not know this, but the numbers of HIV cases in the state of Minnesota has been rising. Not only that, but public funding from the government is going to be probably cut by next year, 2025, so we have more cases and less funds to actually treat the epidemic. We need to also understand that HIV affects people that are usually homeless, people that are people of color, and specifically now it's rising among the Latinx community in the United States. So if you're part of the LGBTQ community, if you know someone, if you have met anyone who is living with HIV, or you just don't like how things are going in our state. This is a call for help. Right now we have a lot of different options if you want to donate, and you can donate specifically for different kind of stuff. So we have Gift to the Max, we have End of Year, and we also have the Red Undie Run. If you're like a sport person and you just want to run and you want to donate and strip for a cause, which is HIV and AIDS awareness. We still have time to raise some funds before the year ends, and this is a call for help if you actually want to do something for your community and be involved. You can volunteer, you can donate, and you can help Aliveness to help end HIV epidemic in Minnesota. We're trying the best we can, we're helping the folks, but we also need more people knowing that this is going on in Minnesota. Go to aliveness.org if you want to donate or volunteer, just learn more from our cause. Thank you so much for watching this.
It is Sunday, August 27th. This week I found out that I have HIV. I was diagnosed on August 23rd. I was diagnosed. Today is my attempt at my first day out. I'm going to the movies with my friend. Had a really hard time with this. It was really hard to get ready. I don't quite know what I want to do with my story. I don't know if I want to share it. I don't know. My mind is 1,000 places at once. But I wanted to document this in case one day I do decide to share it, so that this part of my journey is seen. I also just want to document this for my own self to see how far I come, because I know I have a life of trials and tribulations, and I know that this is important. This part of the story is important, whatever I make it. That's really all. I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be talking and recording myself crying. It's not who I am. But I'm here. I'm at my lowest point. Well, I've been lower, actually, which is surprising. But I'm at a really big crossroad in my life, and I'm just here. And I'm thankful for that.
Atlanta has 20,000 new cases of HIV in 2025 alone. That is in a span of 8 months. That is crazy work, y'all. If you are out here single and experiencing, or you in a relationship that you really don't trust, you ain't been in it for a very much long time, and you know that man is still out here testing things, you need to go get your behind on PrEP, okay? Do not think that PrEP is only for gay men. It is for women. It is for men. It is for teenagers, even the ones in high school over there humping. Y'all need to find yourself on that PrEP stuff. Someone could have it and may not know. Someone may know they have it and just won't say anything. For the gay boys, they say it takes about 7 consistent days of being on PrEP for it to protect you from HIV. And for the heterosexual people, they said it takes about 21 days of consecutive use to protect you from HIV. So I think PrEP needs to be more talked about, okay, because we actually have a medication that people didn't have back in the day. So we need to take advantage of it, because this thing is spreading rapidly.
I had been dating him for over a year, from the beginning of our relationship. He always insisted we be intimate without protection. I kept saying no, mainly because I was scared of getting pregnant. But after a year and 5 months together, I decided to give in. I thought I was giving him something special. Right after we were done, he turned to me with a strange look in his eyes and said, "Congratulations, now you have HIV too." At first, I laughed. I thought it was a dark, twisted joke. I couldn't imagine he was being serious. I didn't want to believe it, so I stayed. I stayed for 5 more years, until my body started to change. I had constant fevers, lost weight rapidly, and strange rashes started appearing everywhere. I finally went to the hospital, and I'll never forget the moment the doctor looked at me and said, "You've tested positive for HIV." I was in shock. I immediately called him crying, and that's when he finally admitted it. He told me he had known all along that he got it from a previous girlfriend and that he made it his mission to pass it on to every woman he dated. He had already done it to at least 3 other women before me, and I was the 4th. Even though I was heartbroken, even though my world fell apart, I couldn't bring myself to report him because I loved him. Now I live with this virus, and every day is a battle not just physically, but emotionally. But I'm stronger now, and I share my story not for pity, but to warn others. Protect yourself. Don't ignore red flags, and please choose love that doesn't hurt.
But it's survival level smart. It's like wearing a helmet on a bike full of Instagram likes. Sexy choices can be smart choices. You can be picky and still be fun. HIV today is not the same thing it was 30 years ago. Medicine has come far, but prevention still beats treatment. Knowing your status protects you and everyone you touch. So next time you think about moving cities for a DM, bring 2 things, a friend and receipts, for both a test and your common sense. Protect your body, protect your future, and for heaven's sake, don't let an influencer be your immune system. If this hit home, go get checked. Tell your people. Be kind, but be clear. And prop a comment. What would you tell someone boarding a plane for love tomorrow? Love is a beautiful risk, but some risks you handle with a condom and a calendar. Be smart, be safe, be silly later.
Man, them folks just said down there in Atlanta, it's been 20,000 new cases of.
I'm here at Christ Community about to pick up my medication for HIV. It's Batarvi and it's a 6-month supply. So I'm waiting on one of the administrators to go back there to the back and get my medicine. Now we're about to open it so I can see what it looks like. This is what it look like. Hold on. Make sure my address and nothing is showing. But Batarvi. And it is a red capsule. Hold on a second. Ugh. I always got the cotton in it. Oh, you better pick that cotton. But
I give you time for everything, man.
But this is what it looks like. It's a GS1 and it has the numbers 9883 on it. So this is what my medication is. It's Batarvi. Like I was saying, my medication comes from Nashville. From Nashville to Memphis, Tennessee, Broad Avenue, Christ Community location for the next 6 months. So that's what the medication looks like, and that's what I have to take in order to remain healthy, living with HIV. So with that being said, you all have a better day.
To be honest, I don't know what happened, but we need a redo.